we have no time. Yeah.
That is so true.
So phase 3 in African setting. So we have time, we have no energy, and we have no money. And that's the curse. Yeah.
That's the curse.
And basically all we ought to do is reverse the curse, because we all end up at that. So in our work environment, so the system basically is set that.
Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie, and it's Mwenye Nchi-Monday, and today is the second part of a series that we're doing with SK-blue, where I'm trying to get Christians, those who believe in God, to sign up for his classes for Gold Avenue Africa, which is about discipling minds with the kingdom economics, because we've been saying that the next revival is economic, and we don't want to be left behind. And many times Christians are left behind, and we don't want to be left behind. We have tools, so we need to engage the tools. And I think we're in agreement that God uses a man or a woman, you know, with gifting. And I like the way he says, even in the parable of the talents, that each was given talents according to their ability. So it is evident that your ability is in equipping minds to understand the economics of the kingdom and how money works, so that we jump on that train, and we also we create wealth. And I loved something else to talk about, wealth of generations, but let me stick to my program. I just want to tease them. These are teasers. So you said the pillars of resource are time, energy, and money. Time, energy, money. And there's a way those three have to work together.
So time, energy, and money. So an analogy was given, and this is an analogy that basically depicts the cycle that humans are in, and that's the curse of life, which must be broken. When people are saying breaking the curses, it will end with me, this is what we need to break.
That's true.
So phase 1, we have time, we have energy, but we have no money. So phase 2,
we have a lot of energy. It's true, we have energy and life, and we're ready, but no money.
And we have time, but there's no money.
There's no money.
Phase 2, we have energy, we have money, but we have no time.
That is so true.
So phase 3 in African setting. So we have time, we have no energy, and we have no money. And that's the curse.
That's the curse.
And basically all we ought to do is reverse the curse, because we all end up at that. So in our work environment, so the system basically is set that people technically expire at 60, 65. Meaning that as a workforce, they are not needed. The reason they are not needed is not because of their muscle structure, but it is because of their stress tolerance. They can't handle sufficient stress at that point. And you see, we are paid for the stress we handle. So the more you handle, the more you get paid. So it's easy to envy someone who's paid premium, but we can't really handle the stress that they have.
The capability,
and the
ability
of stress is quite high. And kingdom therefore brings us to a place of working from a place of rest. And when we look at it that way, therefore we have to manage our energy resource. So let's start with energy. Energy is a depleting resource. So you can't add it. We are told that 72.9 watts of power run a human being. 72.9 watts can't light a 100-watt bulb. You can imagine how mtu ametusumbua all this year and he's running on 72 watts. It's very limited. And the energy that we have is best used at creation, and this is thought creation.
That's true.
So you can look at it that way, and as a depleting resource, there is a time that comes when our backbones will not be able to carry us, when our legs will give in, when our knees will complain, and we will not be able to do as much as we ought to do. And we can't handle stress at that point. We're being stressed by our bodies anyway. So we have to look at that as a depleting resource that we must protect and be guarding it jealously.
Guarding our energy.
So they say the rich spend their money to reserve their energy.
That is so true.
The poor spend their energy to reserve their money. So you see, there is a disconnect there. And the idea is to ask ourselves, how do we therefore get ourselves to a place where we can reserve our energies for the most impactful things in our lives. And this is meaningful relationship and meaningful work.
Yeah.
Meaningful work is work that impacts others.
Yes.
Meaningful relationship is relationship that keeps you true.
Wow.
So energy. Time is another one. Time is a depleting resource as well, because time carries chance.
Yes.
And therefore, when we waste, a season of favor is trapped in time.
That's so true.
And favor is an opening window and it closes. When it closes, it closes.
It closes.
You have to do a whole different cycle of going through the wilderness. 40 days, 40 nights until you come to a place where you access favor again.
So we must use our time wisely.
We have to use our time wisely, and as well discern the time wisely.
Like the sons of Issachar. Discern the times and the seasons.
Exactly. Discern the times and the season. Know that there's a time for everything. What can I do at this particular time of my life? Because a time will come, and this is what time does. God says that, I'll give us this day our daily bread.
Yes.
But bread is split twice. There is bread that he gives us
to
eat, and there is bread that he gives us to sow. Cast your bread among many waters. And upon many days it shall come back to you 30, 60, 100-fold. So every day we live within time, we have the ability to be fruitful. And when we are fruitful, we have to split the fruit. Part of it is seed, part of it is bread. If we don't do that, much later we find ourselves at a place where time passed, time for our fruitfulness passed, and we were not able to multiply.
Our seed.
Exactly. And we go back to the curse where the last cycle, they say at 65, 99% of the human race depend on someone else for life's necessities. 65 is a stretch. 60 is a reality. At 60, we're all taking care of our parents. Think of it, 60 is not that far-fetched.
It isn't.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's 6 more years only.
Imagine.
It's not very far.
It's not far-fetched, but right now it's hard to think of it that way. But unless we're intentional, it becomes that way.
And especially when you're younger. So I think this is a good lesson even for the younger generation to learn. You must use your time effectively, your money effectively, and your energy effectively.
Exactly.
Because at some point, that favor and that window is going to run
out. Going to close.
And then there's going to be a result. Now that's when the fruit is going to be seen. You know the way the Bible says a tree is known by its fruit. Now maybe when you're getting 65, that's when we see the fruit.
And you see,
did you invest properly? Did you use your money wisely?
This is how it happens. Prior to 60, we are fine, health-wise. They say health is the new wealth. We don't know that until we are post-60. Because at 60, our backbones start acting up. Our health and the money that we had is used up on health. And literally, we were not prepared for such a trauma. And therefore, we'd have to depend on someone else for life's necessities. So, the last one is money. Money is cheap because it's replaceable. And money is not a depleting resource, it's an increasing resource. We can get it as much as we add value.
To it.
To it. And that's the way people know how to reward, when you add value into their lives. So when you look at it now, that's a resource as well that is a tool to preserve your time resource and to preserve your energy resource. So the idea in a kingdom is to be able to start at resource, not end at resource. Because when you end at resource, then you end up giving the resource because you're depleted completely. You're at a place where the resource you got to feed you now is needed for health. So the idea is to flip it and be able to say, in the kingdom of God, we start at resource. Why do we need to start at resource? Because it's a tool. But in the world, we end at resource because it's a reward. So our reward is not the resource. Our reward is transformation.
That's so true. SK, wow. See, now my mind is all over the place, but it's true. But time, energy, money. So I think if I'm a young person, first of all, I look at how am I using my time, my energy, and my finances. And how can I make my finances make better use of my time and my energy. And we should start young. I think the other day I was watching somebody who did a show with these women who are doing saving 5 shillings a week, on a Monday.
I saw that.
I was even trying to say, no, that's 20 shillings a month. It's not possible. But look at what happened. By the time they started saving it, put it together, Commonwealth.
Imagine Commonwealth.
Commonwealth is the secret as well. You can't save 5 shillings by yourself or selfishly.
It's a timeless principle.
There's got to be increase.
Yes.
But once it comes into the Commonwealth,
exactly,
then we can do a lot more with it.
Yeah, and transformation is wholesome. Transformation is for everyone. There's not. It's like a revival. You can't do a one-person revival. No, it's a generational revival, and Commonwealth is needed for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think for me, one of my takeouts from what you just shared is that in terms of time, energy, and money, as a Christian and as a kingdom person, you need to start looking at it differently. And you need to look at it differently and know that this wealth that God is giving is for the transformation of many, and it is for the Commonwealth. So we need to learn the principles, because you've answered something that sometimes I think, SK, that maybe an individual in a generation, or maybe it's too much pressure, wastes the resources for the entire generation. That's why maybe you see one person is wealthy in a generation. That's wrong.
Yes.
Because they should teach the others how to become wealthy as well.
And in Africa, it's dangerous. It's not just wrong, because there's the black man tax. Whoever lifts their head first, they have to carry everyone else. So
you pretend your head is not lifting.
You
don't want everyone
to come
down after you. But I think that's important, because it can be that one person has been given this divine ability or grace, or has made proper use of their time. But instead of being frustrated by the ones who have not, maybe then you teach them, you empower them.
It's true.
You create a way that you will empower people instead of just giving them handouts. That even you empower your family so that they may arise, so everybody arises.
But there is a dynamic, and the dynamic is we can only teach receptive people.
That's the thing.
But the question is, how do they get receptive?
Yes, how?
They have to see our fruits. So before we start teaching them, we need to get those fruits.
That's so true.
So that's the challenge, where we go with this premium message and try to teach a generation that is looking at us and they're not seeing why they should.
So they need to want it as well.
They need to want it, but they will only want it by seeing fruitfulness in our lives. And that's the challenge, where the church and the body of believers has to rethink our approach, because this is the approach that the church takes. Number one, values comes number one. Most important, let's get values. Number two, let's take it to the society. So social. But unfortunately, the society rejects it, because the society doesn't speak that language. The society speaks economics. So we need to have values, then take over economics. Then they will be receptive, and we will be able to come into a society and teach them the values that we know. When they see
the fruit.
Otherwise, it becomes wisdom of a poor man, which is despised.
You have heard it. That's the end of today. We're coming back next week. And next week, I think I'll let SK flow. I'll let him flow with what he's feeling in his heart that we need to know about kingdom economics. Tag a friend, share with a friend, share with the church, share with the community. Bring us into the Commonwealth so that we may enjoy this transformation and we may learn about money. God bless you. Bye.